I'm Andrea from the Creative Dream Incubator, and this is day 26 of 30 days of creative journals. So today I'm revisiting something that I shared a couple of days ago about cultivating conditions for thriving. This is something that I do a lot in my journals. I do something, I let it sit for a couple of days, and then I come back to it and I do a new page about it, kind of taking what I learned there and exploring what's the next step and what feels fuzzy about this and what am I ready to implement about this. So the page I'm doing, it's not in my journal today. I'm doing another big sheet that I wanted to put on the wall, and it's too big. It would be too awkward to share it with you. So I'm going to take photos and put those in the blog post that go with this so you can see it there. What happened, and it's not the specifics that matter, really, it's the process, because the specifics are different all of the time, right? So the process of like exploring what are the conditions that I need for thriving and what I came to as the most important thing for me for now being containers. So this new one is all about exploring the containers and letting it sit for a few days and then coming back to it is super helpful, because when I drew the first one, and I drew the big turquoise rectangle, and it was like containers, and I felt this strong sort of intuitive message about it, and everything felt really, really clear and sure and helpful. And that's what happens when you're using your intuition and your creative genius and expressing it and getting into it, and it makes things very obvious. But those kind of moments of zing and clarity, they don't usually last. So if you come back to it a few days later, you can just notice where it is now. It's kind of like when we have any kind of healing or transformational event. It's like you start here and you have this thing that happens and you go all the way here about this thing, right? And then over the course of time, or whether it's days or weeks or months, you come back, right? And you never go back all the way to where you were, you come back somewhere here. So this is the step you take, but you go all the way here in order to come back and take that step. So that's what happens in the journal too, all the time. That's why it's really good to come back to what you were doing and keep exploring. So as I come back to what I wrote about the containers, today I'm realizing I didn't know a lot about them, and it felt kind of fuzzy. It felt like I wasn't really sure what to do with this. So I just wrote out the containers. I started writing in pencil. You probably can't see that in the photos. There's pencil writing everywhere where I'm just writing out everything that comes to mind and just like exploring. Like, it doesn't have to make sense, but just like writing. Answers do not always come right away, right? That's probably a good thing for me to mention in these videos, because I'm sharing how the journals always help me find my answer, but it just doesn't happen immediately, always. Sometimes it's a lot of pages before I find the answer that feels really true and really helpful. The thing that I'm most happy about with this, with how this turned out, is that in following creativity and inspiration and just journaling and bringing in creative play in your journaling, so doing a little bit of painting and drawing and just expressing how things feel, you can get at the heart and soul of what you really need. And it feels really helpful. It feels like it nourishes my creative spirit. It feels like it nourishes my connection to authenticity and, you know, my own self. I think it's important as often as possible to take the amazing insights and ideas that you get from your journaling and figure out how to implement it. What is it telling you about what you're doing and how you could be doing it differently? If you just take everything you learn in your journal and leave it there, it doesn't help you to change your life. So this is the part where your journal becomes a tool for dream growing, is where you figure out how to apply these really cool creative spiritual principles. And journaling helps you do that. Just brainstorming, mapping it out. What might it look like? What could it look like? What do I want it to look like? What are different ways it could be, and just show those, especially when you're confused about how to implement things. Just make lists of how you could implement things. Often the answer is in there. It just needs a little coaxing to come out, and just sort of keep writing about it, keep exploring it from different angles, do drawing or collage or painting to express it, and keep exploring. You will find answers that bring you really, really practical things that you can do that are going to make it easier for you to grow your